Hey there, this is Joel Patterson. This is my presentation of my ePortfolio. This is actually take 3, so fingers crossed I can get through it on time this time. First page here is just a little bit about me, kind of the candidate info, personal introduction portion of things. So I've got a little quick video here that kind of explains who I am, where I teach at, and kind of what I've been involved in. I've included just a couple of pictures here just to kind of help introduce myself. This is my family here, my wife Jenna, and then my boys Bo and Reed, who are 5 and 3. This is my grade level team, my 3rd grade team at one of our field trips last year. And then this is myself with my son Bo's T-ball team this past summer. I'm the crazy guy on the side. And then this is my class last year at field day. As far as personal and professional goals, for me, professional goals are kind of broken into a 1 to 3, 3 to 5, and a 5 to 10 year range. I enjoy being in the classroom, and that's really where a great deal of my passion is. And so for me, I'm ready to possibly move into an admin role kind of in a 1 to 3 year range. But that would be at an elementary level. I feel like to do that job the way that I want to be able to do it and as successfully as I want to be able to do it, I need to just continue to pick up experiences and kind of work my way up the ladder there. I've got a couple of friends that have gone straight from the classroom into an administrative role, and I don't know if I'm cut from that cloth. I think I need to kind of take the steps, from classroom teacher to an assistant principal up to an actual building principal. Personal goals, kind of keep that fire going. Like I said, my passion is in the classroom right now, and I don't want to be part of the burnout statistics where people wash out of being a principal within 5 years. So making sure that I maintain a good work-home balance and I'm present with my family, and being able to recharge that way, and being able to step away from teaching a little bit and reflect on what I'm doing and how to do it better. So those are some of my personal goals. Within candidate info, I also have my philosophy of education. So I have 2 documents in here. One is on my leadership philosophy and kind of what that entails, and then also what are my leadership styles. So in the leadership philosophy piece here, I kind of talk about how you are able to reach students and staff, and then pulling in your community as well. Under my leadership styles, I've kind of narrowed my focus down to 2 styles, and that's democratic and transformational. Democratic leader would be someone who takes input from everyone to come to an agreement on a decision. So I'm not that leader that stands up there and says, this is it, this is my way, this is how we're going to do things. I like to get the input from the group and move on making decisions that way. And then they can be aligned with our shared vision. Transformational leadership in this, slide on back down. And a transformational leadership style, that's more of a style in which you are cultivating leaders and supporting them, motivating them, and getting them lined up with that shared vision again. And then you can use that to work towards that student success. So those are my leadership styles and philosophies. My program of study. In this section, you can see the courses that I've taken over the past 3 years. I actually began this journey with Baker University and just a Master's of Ed program. Kind of switched paths about 3 classes in and came over to Fort Hays State to start working towards the Ed Administration program. So you can see the classes here in green are the ones that are completed, and they're all there. I also included just this ePortfolio organizer, and I know this wasn't included, but this was something that I used that was helpful for me to kind of organize the activities that I picked up over the past 3 years. And so this is what it looked like, and I just broke everything into those 6 categories and all the functions listed. And then the activities are under each function and color coordinated by elementary and secondary and district. So that is that. Resume is kind of a working document. It is up to date and current for now, but as I pick up experiences through building leadership and district leadership teams, and then working with our building principal, Dr. Weichel, as well, kind of updating that as we go along. Um, let's see. The next part is annotated bibliography. So in this section, I picked 10 different journal articles, and I really tried to hone in on articles that would be relevant for me and would help me as an administrator as well. So I talked just a little bit ago about, principal burnout and teacher burnout, and how I kind of heard and read about a lot of that. I don't want to be a part of that statistic. So some of the articles that I read were some tips for first year administrators and just different things that administrators can do to be effective. So, um, you know, having effective professional development and collaborating with teachers, those are some things that will help make me a better administrator and make our school better as well. I also added a couple of articles in here as well about how the true key to success is failure. And I think as principals or teachers or parents, sometimes it's hard to see our students or our own children fail or struggle with things, but really that's necessary at times. And some of that truest forms of learning can come from seeing or how students are able to pick themselves back up. And so we can kind of support that, but understanding that failure is a part of life and reacting to it is where that learning happens. So moving on to the activities, and I know this has been the spot that's knocked me off on time. I know that I'm not going to be able to get through all of my 13 activities here for elementary, 6 for district, and 6 for secondary. So I'm going to kind of scroll through this and highlight a few of them. A good portion of these are going to be dealing with PBIS and social emotional learning. That's been a huge focus for not only our building at the elementary level, but district-wide. We are having more and more children that are coming to our buildings with multiple ACEs, and ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. And so how we can support those children through our social emotional learning has been a big area of focus for us. So we've created surveys. We've analyzed those surveys not only for students to take, but parents and also staff. So some of that is in here. We have looked over district data and kind of identified students with tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 social emotional needs so that we can pull in extra support when we need it, whether that's from a school social worker or counselors. So these are a couple of those documents as well. Being on the building leadership team, we've also created a framework for what that's going to look like whenever we meet. We've also, within that group, been really busy with scheduling out different events throughout the year, community events, like we have different food nights with restaurants, and we have a STEAM night that we've done for the last several years where we'll pull in different community organizations to help us with that as well. So that's what some of this is. Again, ACEs, like we kind of talked about, adverse childhood experiences. We've created behavior matrices for our entire building so students know the expectations no matter where they're at. The morning meeting book, that's been kind of the book that we've used to guide our instruction in the mornings to kind of hit that social emotional leading. I've done a few presentations for staff on people first language. That was at one of our PD days where we did some breakout sessions. So I got to share some of that. Presented also on our class dojo, which is a behavior tracking system here. Let's see, comprehensive building plans. Again, kind of lining out those PD dates and what data we're going to focus on. This year happens to be opportunities to respond. Pulling in different community stakeholders and helpers. We've brought in an author here. We've also brought in the fire department, K-9 officers, lots of different ways we've pulled in different community members. Gone on some different tours of furniture stores to choose some different furniture to use, some alternative seating options for our students at Madison. I've also been kind of tabbed as our technology guru, I guess, for 3rd grade and 4th grade. And so presenting to them how to use our new reading curriculum's online features. Let's see, and also meeting with our principal, Dr. Rachel, about KISA and what that looks like at our school. Okay, moving on. The secondary level. So in the secondary level, I worked quite a bit with Stan Watches. He is a social studies teacher and also an athletic director at that school, and our elementary students feed into that school. So a lot of the activities I have in here with him kind of center around what he does, and kind of helped him out with some different track meets as a shadow. Reached out to some different equipment companies to order not just equipment for students and athletes, but also for some of the coaches as well. So those are all in here. I was also able to share a couple of slide or presentations, I guess I should say, on FERPA and parent rights that we have put into the Google Classroom, not only at Madison, but at Pioneer Ridge as well, so that staff could kind of get a better understanding of those at the beginning of the year. Kind of piggybacking off of that, I also did the same thing with our digital citizenship poster as well, so students kind of know what's expected of them when they're online. District activities. So a lot of these came from working on that IT integration team. District promotional video, kind of looking into the statistics of what our community has, what types of students are coming to our buildings. We looked at BSEL attendance and behavior data for the district, trying to figure out if any of those tier 3 SEL behaviors are some of the same students that we're having attendance issues with as well. We created a family guide for math MTSS, so parents are aware of that and what that looks like at our buildings. SPED resource list for staff and families. We created an impact cycle, which was kind of developed after looking over district data and seeing kind of what skill areas were a little lower than we wanted them to be, and how we were going to address those. Let's see. And then at the bottom, we spent a great deal of time working not only with elementary building schedules, but middle school and high school as well. So that's what's there at the bottom. Okay. So in the next section on reports, the activity log, I won't click on that, but that's going to include all of the different activities that I've done. So not just the 25 that we needed to do, but quite a few other ones that didn't quite make the cut for this ePortfolio. Administrator evaluation, in here I have my 3 evaluation forms from the elementary, secondary, and district levels. And lastly, the reflection. So in this section, kind of just spent a great deal of time over the last couple months, really reflecting on my time in this program and kind of where I was 3 years ago and to where I'm at now. And I can say that as an educator, I've really shifted a lot of my thoughts and my beliefs about what education should be and how to meet those student needs from 3 years ago to now, because now I'm looking at things way bigger picture than I did 3 years ago. Looking at what things are we doing at Madison that are going to, affect kids at Pioneer Ridge Middle School and all the way up to Gardner Edgerton High School. So that's been pretty eye-opening for me, being involved on those leadership teams and getting to see kind of bigger picture and not just what's happening within my own classroom. I think the other big takeaway for me within this whole thing is just understanding that as a new administrator that's in the near future, that I won't have all of the answers, but if you have the right beliefs and you have the right morals and values, and you know that you don't know the answers, but you can find them, I think that's a pretty big trait to have to be a good leader, because staff are going to want to know that you make mistakes too, and you're right there with them, trying to build them up and build up the school, and you're not just kind of standing off to the side as an administrator and saying, hey, this is how it's going to be. And so I think that's been a big thing for me in this program, is just realizing that I'm not an expert on everything, but whatever I don't know, I'm also willing to look to find out those answers for people. So that concludes my reflection. Down here at the bottom, I've also included all the different courses, the standards applied, and kind of how it's going to apply to me as a future leader. So Again, thanks for viewing this.